Hello and welcome to Finding Your Holy Grail, a show produced through Passionate World Talk Radio, whose goal is to educate, enlighten, and entertain. I am your host, Dr. Mandy Simon. I am joined by our very special guest today, Steve Foran, who specializes in gratitude at work. Steve and I first met during the initial lockdown in March of 2020, and I'm so thrilled to invite him back today. Welcome, Steve.
Thanks, Mandy. Great to be with you here today.
Thank you. Thank you. So as we were discussing before we came on the air, one of the things that we want to do is just work to do whatever we can, our part, to help people build resilience and allow them to live fearless. And in doing so, I think one of the things that's so unique about your organization is your ability to recognize certain practices each day that have done this for you in different ways over time. So I will let you choose the starting point in terms of how you'd like to speak to the audience at home.
Fantastic. Let's go back to 1995.
Sure.
And I'm on a street corner, and I'm approached by a gentleman on the street. You want money? Like, this is my money. If you want money, you get a job. Like, who do you think you are asking me for money? Fortunately, that didn't come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
That was in my head. And I've always been this positive person, Mandy, but I was very judgmental. And found myself with, maybe very little compassion. But just very, not even understanding, the road that someone else can walk. And I just fast forward to today, where I kind of discover that, my life was handed to me on a silver platter. Like, I still have challenges and everything, but I realized my life was handed to me on a silver platter. And it really, I kind of think and look back at that person I was in 1995 and think, how could I have thought that?
Yeah.
And
I really appreciate you sharing this story. And the reason I appreciate this is because I think at this moment, this is a natural way for all of us to feel, because we're living in this moment where we don't feel that we have the security to go forward. There's such great uncertainty in the world. And this is a natural predisposition for us if we don't understand that we're interconnected.
Like when I got to the point, I used to think I did it all myself, right?
I remember this.
Right?
Yeah.
You want money? This is my money. This is what I'm thinking. I did this. And then I realized, oh my goodness, Stephen, look at the family you grew up in. Look at the time in history you're born. Just all these things that that have been given to me. I still have challenges are in there too. We all have those. Yeah. But it was just and Mandy, that comes back to this whole idea of we are so connected with each other.
Yeah.
We really are.
Yeah. And you do this so well. I had the pleasure of being a guest contributor on your site, yeah. 1 Billion Happier People, several weeks ago. And it was such an amazing experience for me. And for the listeners and the viewers at home, what this meant is that I created 3 daily gratitudes that I shared on Steve's platform each day. And the interactions that I had with the people that were part of this community were something that it was a very simple exchange that you had been doing long before the pandemic had ever come on. And the experience of understanding and feeling and knowing and actually experiencing that there were other people out there that had an interest in things that were a focus for me that had meaning and they could have appreciation for was a very humbling experience.
And yeah. For me and for the rest of the folks that were reading your daily gratitudes for a week, it's amazing how much you can learn about someone through 15 gratitudes. Some of them can seem really big, some really small, but it really helps. You really get to know people through it, Mandy, and certainly with you, I did too.
Yeah. And so tell us a little bit about how you went from this person that you were in the mid 90s in terms of practice to being all about gratitude.
So at, at, at some point, and it wasn't an exact second or moment, but it happened over a period of time where I had this realization that, oh my goodness, Steve, your life's been handed to you on a
Mhm.
silver platter. It just brought this overwhelming sense of gratitude.
Amazing.
I saw everything as a gift, right?
Mm.
Like a couple of weeks ago, you had someone on your show who was talking about the gifts of
Yeah.
COVID. I
Yeah.
saw my life as a gift, and that just brought this sense of gratitude. And so I started doing some research on it because I was in grad school, and then 15 years ago, that's when we started the company. And this whole idea of gratitude, I know today for me,
Mhm.
and I say I know because of, well, if you're looking at me, you can see I'm holding my hand
Yeah.
just on my torso, because that's the place where I know. I
Mhm.
don't know because of any facts or studies, but I just know because it's inside me that gratitude, my 15 years of a daily practice of
Mhm.
writing down 3 things I'm grateful for, has given me, I use an analogy that it's kind of war related, but which is not really appropriate, but it's like a shield. It's
Mhm.
just has helped insulate me and protect me, help serve me in
Yeah.
keeping a positive frame of mind. This daily practice of just recording what we're grateful for.
And you do this 3 times a day for the past 15 years. You've built an entire business out of this particular practice.
Yeah, just very simple habit of recording 3 things you're grateful for. And
Yeah.
it's very simple, but it's not always easy, right? Because life hands us all kinds of stuff like COVID and sick parents or kids or relatives or spousal or relationship challenges. Life hands us these things, and it's not easy to be grateful when these
Yeah.
things happen. But
Mhm.
gratitude is not saying, "Oh, gee, I'm grateful that this." It's about finding the good in the challenge and the situations that we find before us.
Yeah. And how do you think this has actually changed your perspective in understanding this aspect that it's allowed you to be more resilient from within?
Well, it takes me from a place where, like back in March, when everything started locking down,
Mhm.
a significant portion of our business comes from doing live events where
Yeah.
I'm there in person with people, and we're on vacation. And I go back to my room at the end of the day, and my phone starts lighting up with all these emails from clients. We've canceled our event. All these things are happening. What's the first thing you think that goes through my mind? Like, how am I going to pay my mortgage? All these things, but the whole idea of gratitude, it just caused me to think, okay, Steve, you tell people that there's good in challenges. Where's the good in this? And
Mhm.
it causes me to step back and start asking that question. And I think it did it to me sooner. Like in the midst of it, I started asking, okay, where's the good here? And I
Mhm.
started thinking, okay, well, we're going to find another way to do this. And out of this, there's going to be, I'm going to learn new things that are going to help me uh, be more effective and have more impact in the world. And then
Mhm.
I go from the immediate response of being fear and stressful, because the problem is that when I get in that spot, it produces cortisol in my system, in your system too. As soon as we get to that fear-based place and having the long-term presence of cortisol in our system, and you know this better than I do,
Mhm.
it's not a healthy thing to have. And so if I can get out of that and have be in a positive emotional state, which gratitude enables me to do, it enables me to it really is a wonderful coping mechanism. Not that we ignore the fact that I had these clients push out or cancel,
Mhm.
but it puts me in a mind frame where I can go back to them and say, okay, Mandy, look, I know you had your event plans for next year. What can I do to support you between now and then? It takes the focus off of me. Oh, poor Steve, you got your event canceled. Well, what about your client who's got 800 people coming to this thing, Steve? What
Right.
about them? What they're so it puts me in a place of empathy and service to others.
Mhm.
And that, even telling you this story, it
Mhm.
feels better. I'm not telling you the story to make me look good. That's just a natural thing that happens.
Yeah, and for any of our listeners right now, you can hear the change of his voice, right? You can hear the gravel come in the voice. If you're watching you, you can just see your whole body changing this way. And it's very important. On the very first show where I introduced with my co-creator this show, I framed it out completely saying exactly these words: fear creates stress in the body. The stress releases hormones such as cortisol, which flip us into survival mode. And it is this survival mode that is not sustainable. And it is not a mode that any of us want to be in, because it eclipses our actual focus of everything. It makes us very narrow-minded. It creates blind spots, and it puts us into a feeling of danger. I actually love the fact that you say gratitude creates this shield and this protection around you, because we can think of this as an energetic aspect as well, in which we're really able to say, precisely why you have a shield is for protection. And in this case, it doesn't have to be war related. It can literally be about the fact that you're self-nurturing. You're taking this pause point and you're providing some aspect to be in service to others through getting yourself out of a state of fear.
And this part of our brain that controls this it has a strong influence on us too,
Yeah.
doesn't it? That doesn't it, Mandy?
Yeah.
It just, something happens, like think of, for you listening or watching at home, if your spouse says or partner says, I need to talk to you about something really important, or your boss says, I need, before you leave at the end of the day, I come see me in my office. Where does your mind go?
Yeah. It goes
Does it
to
go to,
negative. Yeah. It goes
right?
to negative, right?
It's that.
People get really stressed out and they say, oh no, am I going to lose my job? Oh no, what did I do wrong? Right? Like, this is the first predisposition.
So gratitude. So if that happens, say, okay, what do I get to look forward to here? Like, to
Yeah.
have the courage to do that and not think you're being naive by
Yeah.
doing that, right? Powerful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love this conversation so much. And for our audience at home, let's be clear. The challenge, the call to action for you at this time is to learn to write down 3 gratitudes a day. This is what Steve started doing 15 years ago. We can see how powerfully it has changed him as an individual. He's created these incredible organizations and a career out of this. And it's something that there is no judgment about what your gratitude is. But one of the things, Steve, you've told me in the past is that it's important to actually write it down. It can be on a phone, it can be on a piece of paper, any way that you actually physically go through the process of transferring it through your body onto some medium is what's important. Yes?
Yeah, and I got to restate that as well too, because it's so
Yeah.
important. And I'm glad you said it. It's that, like,
Yeah.
the recording of it is an extra step and it's harder, but it really does help the long-term effect of it on you and ultimately on those around you. So record it, whether it's on electronically
Mm-hmm.
or on paper. It really is important, because your brain is malleable. It can change, and if it's totally consumed by cortisol and stress, you can kind of think of it, it's shrinking,
Yeah.
and that's not what you want.
Yeah. And so then people can actually go back and refer to these if they put them in a way in which they can keep track of them as well, which I have found for myself to be very, very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, it can. And some days it might be the same thing 3
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
It might be. Yeah.
Exactly. Would you please share with our audience at home your website and email if you'd like to share it so that they can reach out to you?
Absolutely. Thanks, Mandy. So if you go to gratitudeatwork.ca, you can get connected with me. My email is, you can find it on that website. And Mandy mentioned the 1 billion happier people site. It's a link right off the main page. It will say something about the movement. And love to see you there.
Yeah, it's a fantastic platform. I am really impressed with it. I'm so grateful,
Uh,
not to be corny, that this is what you've created. And I'd like to thank Passionate World Talk Radio for providing a platform on their internet radio station for our show, Finding Your Holy Grail. For more information, you can go to www.passionateworldtalkradio.com. For my work, you can follow me at www.findingyourholygrail.com or email me at findingyourholygrail@gmail.com. To our audience at home, I'm so grateful that you tuned in and listened today. Thank you, Steve, so much for being here. I really look forward to continuing to work with you. And for everyone at home, until next week, keep safe and stay brave.